What's up, blockchain? This is Nick from Truth Blitz. Hope you guys are having a good one. We'll start off by taking a quick look at the market as always. And right now we have $421 billion overall, with Bitcoin dominance at 38% even. According to CoinMarketCap, we have Bitcoin at 9,481. However, on Bittrex, which is where I have my widget on my phone linked to, it's about $100 less. So I just got done watching Crypto Blood's TA video. And really we need to stay above the 9,400 area, which is kind of like a make or break area, whether we're going to continue to drop or go back up and reach. Well, I really don't know. I don't see us reaching that target number of Cliff High's data, which is 13,880. And I want to say thank you to Sophia Simone, because she called me out on my video yesterday. I had been saying 13,888, and I don't know where I picked up the extra 8, but it's actually 13,880. So it's really, I mean, anything can happen, but every day that goes by, it looks like less and less of a chance for us to hit that by the end of the month, which is just a few days away. So I want to get into this. Speaking of Cliff High, he tweeted this out. It was yesterday or the day before, and title was 46% of last year's ICOs have failed already. It's always been assumed that a large number of ICOs will fail, be it at the fundraising stage or when it comes to delivering the actual project. It's hard to settle on a precise figure, however, as most dubious ICOs don't exit scam. They slowly tiptoe away like a sneak thief rather than a smash and grab robber. Having completed an extensive study into last year's crowd sales, news.bitcoin.com can report that 46% of them are effectively dead already, despite raising over $104 million. So we had more ICOs than we can count last year, right? How many of them are still putting out news saying, oh, we released our alpha, we released our beta, we've announced this partnership, we've done this, we've done that? How many of them just kind of slowly went radio silence? Probably a lot. I can think of a few right offhand that really had an ICO and then virtually no one ever heard from them again, or very little. So, you know, I mean, it's been said, I've heard different figures. I've heard 90% of them are going, 90% of these companies and tokens and cryptos are going to fail. I've heard higher, I've heard lower. But one thing's for sure is this number here, 1,519 different cryptos, and that's just the ones that are listed on CoinMarketCap. There are others that aren't. They're not all going to make it, that's for damn sure. Especially cryptocurrencies that don't have a utility use. Because how many actual cryptocurrencies do we need? I mean, yeah, we're going to see some that are going to stay around. Bitcoin, Litecoin, possibly Bitcoin Cash. But how many actual cryptocurrencies do we need, right? So I don't like to invest in a lot of cryptocurrencies. I like tokens with a utility use, and that is mainly what I go for, or what I went for when I would invest in an ICO or get into a position. So I quickly want to go over this article. New York lawmakers open to revisiting the BIT license. For those of you who don't know what the BIT license is, it is essentially regulations that New York State put forth. Because if you don't know already, New York City especially was like ground zero for Bitcoin a few years back. You know, when Bitcoin was new, 2011, 2012, when it was newer. That's where Charlie Shrem's company was. You had the New York Bitcoin Exchange, which was next to the New York Stock Exchange. So it was ground zero for the Bitcoin economy. And New York put through regulations to basically not totally squash out Bitcoin, but make it super expensive for a company to legally operate in the state of New York, a Bitcoin-based company. So a lot of companies, most companies, shut down operations in New York altogether. I know that I could think of a couple offhand. I'm drawing a blank right now, though. Anyway, we'll read a little bit of this article. Anyone in the crowd that does not think the bit license needs to be reformed? Not a word from the audience. Then a few seconds later, laughter at the awkward silence. But the question itself, posed by New York State Senator Jesse Hamilton at a roundtable Friday, hinted that the controversial 2015 regulation may be soon revisited. A bill to reform the regulation could be introduced very soon, State Senator David Carlucci told CoinDesk. That's why we wanted to do this hearing, to get some views before we propose legislation. Speaking after the 2-hour event, Carlucci said that a report will be prepared cataloging the problems identified during the roundtable he hosted with Hamilton, as well as some of the solutions that we propose. Carlucci added, we want to put that out there, circulate it, and really figure out how we can make this license in New York State something that works for the residents of New York State and the state economy. And while the hearing didn't produce any guarantees of reform, both senators expressed an openness to continue the dialogue with more events of this kind planned for the coming weeks. We're going to do this again in a month and a half from now, Hamilton said. But what is likely to remain is the animosity toward the bit license, as evidenced by the small but dedicated protest gathering outside just before the roundtable began, not to mention the grievances aired by the 24 or so attendees. So, threatening to leave, abolish the bit license. That was Theo Chino, who has waged a years-long campaign against the regulatory framework at the outset of Friday's roundtable. I'm not going to read this whole article, but you can kind of see where it's going. People hated the bit license when it was signed and put into law, and they still hate it. So basically, it looks like possibly New York will finally come around and maybe loosen up their stranglehold on the crypto space. Who knows what will actually happen, but if that's the case, that would be very good for residents of New York. And if you live in New York, you kind of have a first-hand knowledge of what I mean and how bad things are there for people in the crypto space. It is a lot easier for people in the crypto space outside of New York, that's for sure. Especially somebody who has a company, because from what I know, it is just overwhelmingly expensive and a lot of hoops you have to jump through to be legally able to operate in the state of New York. Now, I don't know much about details, actual costs, or how, what needs to happen, but I know that a lot of companies said, screw this isn't worth it, I just won't operate in New York. And that's actually what the majority of companies did. I know Shapeshift is one of them, and Shapeshift, for those who don't know, is owned by Eric Voorhees. And he is one of the godfathers of Bitcoin. And I know that when the BIT license was signed into law, he just opted out of operating in New York. So a lot of companies have actually done the same. And newer companies that basically started operating after the license was signed into law did the same also. So when it comes to regulation on a state level, hopefully New York will become more of a crypto-friendly state. Now, as far as federal regulations go, it's really hard to say, especially when you have, as I reported yesterday, banks like Bank of America coming out and basically, without using these exact words, saying how cryptos are basically a threat to their existence. You know, of course they didn't use those words, but we all know how powerful these big banks are. You know, we have lawmakers that are, without a doubt, 100% in the pockets of these big banks, these too big to fails, who get these bailouts, and have gotten these bailouts in the past. So basically, a lot of these lawmakers will vote in favor of the banks when it comes to voting on laws, and they are essentially minions for the bankers. But I don't know why I'm telling you guys this, because you guys already know, right? So anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about right now. You know, we're just going to keep an eye on what is going on with the price of Bitcoin. It looks like we're up slightly. And, you know, we will, let me see what my phone has here for the price. Yeah, still about $100 less. So we will continue to keep an eye on it. And if anything breaks, I will come out and make another video. But as of right now, there's really not much going on. I'm trying to not even look at the price, to be honest with you. Just trying to strategically plan my next move, and I hope you guys are doing that as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. If you like my content, hit the like button for me. That helps me out. And also, I'd be grateful if you guys subscribe to the Block Party Podcast official YouTube channel. The link is right below me. And I'll see you guys next time.